Holy Torah. So we're holding in the 27th chapter, Perek of the Holy Tanya, Baal Hatanya, Lessons in Tanya. It's very important stuff because we're talking about Simcha and becoming more attached to our neshama and getting clear how to be in this world, how to work in this world. You know, it's very appropriate. We just had Tishrei not so long ago. I know it feels already now a while back because time moves quick. We're already after Zayin Tishrei, where we already started saying Tanya Chapter, and that's very significant in the journey from Tishrei because even though nowadays it doesn't feel so relevant, but back in the day, if it rained and you were Aliyah L'Regel, it made a big difference in your experience. So, Baruch Hashem, we're already now asking for the rain, asking for the Geshmei Bracha in the full sense. We already started Simchas Torah, but now in the full sense in Shmoneh Esrei, we're wanting to have the Hatzlacha and the success in this world. But part of the challenge is that once you're more back in the world and not in the world of Tishrei and Yom Tov and higher avoda, you're now more busy with the day-to-day grind. So there's going to be a challenge of simcha, of how to keep yourself focused on what the Ratzon Hashem is and not get constantly distracted by thoughts of sadness and negativity. And even while I'm sitting here this morning, I'm going through those thoughts, you know, all the different things that need to be sorted out. And that's the tendency, and it comes during davening and it comes during work. So the Baal Hatanya, what he's going to do is help us organize those thoughts so they don't take over our experience and that we're somewhat in control. Like there's famous non-Jewish books like The Power of One, Healing Earth, from this non-Jewish writer called Eckhart Tolle. There's books like this, Stephen Covey somewhat touches on it, where they help you guide your thoughts, and it's a different kind of life once you get more aware or self-aware. We're not meshubah, we're not enslaved to our thoughts. We actually have tools and strategies and ways to. We were learning with Rav Shlomo back in the day in the Pirtzatza from Machshavas Avreichim and other Svarim about meditating and visualizing and learning to get more attached to the way we think. But the Baal Hatanya has his way of guiding us and not allow ourselves to get pulled down by our thoughts. So on the contrary, he goes on to say, we already had a whole explanation how to deal with some of these challenges, and he then says, on the contrary, such sadness is due to conceit. So what we have to realize is that getting depressed, God forbid, is connected to gaiva or gasas ruach, the language he uses, conceit. So we're not knowing our place. That's a really important thing. Like, you know, Baruch Hashem, in example, in Shirat David, I stand all the way at the back. Easy. Yeah? I don't have to worry about cover, I don't have to worry about anyone noticing me. I'm all the way at the back, Baruch Hashem. And Rav Shlomo's all the way at the front. He knows his place because he has to lead the community. And, you know, people like you guys are probably somewhere in the middle. Everyone's got their place, yeah. But knowing your place removes a lot of the gaiva, a lot of the confusion. And once we get caught up with trying to be something we're not, we're not staying in our lane. We're trying to get in someone else's lane. So what does that lead to? It leads to depression. We got in. But it comes from gaiva. It comes from gasas ruach. For he does not know his place, and that is why he's distressed, because he's not attained the level of a tzaddik. He wants to be the tzaddik, he wants to be the rav, he wants to be the rebbe. To such foolish thoughts surely do not occur. Yeah? So by tzaddikim, they're not busy with that. They're very much in their lane, focused on what they need to be doing. What their job is, where their panasa is, where their marriage is. They're not busy looking at other people. They're not busy imagining that they could be something they're not. You know, one of the things that Shalasudas, I used to have Shalasudas with Rebbes, I used to be big matzavim, and since I moved to Frat, my third meal, unless I come here, it's like by myself, with my family. And I get moments of isorus, of awakening, and I'm imagining a whole table of people, and we're all singing and getting into a situation. And then I say to her, whatever, that's not where it is right now. I have one son who was sitting there on the couch, somewhat into it. My wife's somewhat into it. The rest of the kids, I don't know where they are. Well, one daughter's out with her friends, and one's upstairs reading a book or whatever it is, and I'm just, no, this is my situation. It might not be like the Rebbe Shatish, but on a neshama level, we're all connected, and I'm bringing down some good energy right now. And it doesn't have to be like a public experience. Everyone doesn't have to know about it. It's just us and Hashem, our family, a small private thing. Even though our Chassidus is better to be with a community and to do Chassidus together as a. It says in the davening even. It says when we say on Shabbos, we say Avraham Yaga Yitzchak Yarein Yachu Vanav V'Nuchu Bo. So Avram and Yitzchak is the Lel Shabbos and Shabbos Day. Yaakov is Shalasudis. Shalasudis is Uvanav. Yaakov's with his kinder. So fine, I'm in my house. I'm with my family. But sometimes they're not really there fully. And sometimes, I'm with the community and I'm with Yaakov. Uvanav means the Kihila also. It doesn't just mean your family. It means larger. It means that's what the Baal Hatanya took it to that next level. It means all the kinders, all the shvatim. So on a panemius level, we're all united at that moment in Shalasudis, and we're experiencing this awakening. Now the key is by us not getting caught up in being something we're not, so we're able to be present in what we are. We're not imagining we have to be somewhere else. That's one of the tricks of the world out there, is always make you feel chassid, always make you feel li'alaki. You don't have enough money, you don't have enough this, you don't have the relationship you want, you don't have, always making you feel lacking. And then that's how they stick all their advertising dollars and the whole control power on your life and getting you to do things you don't really deep down want to do. And they take over your mind a little bit through this, like making you feel, whereas if you're totally aware, self-aware, and you know exactly where, and you're sameach b'helko, and you're able to be where you are, so then there's no inroads for that whole world out there to start. One of the things I've tried to stay away from, just to help me with this, is generally not look at anyone's statuses and not look at anyone's feeds and not look at even though I'm online, I just throw up my stuff and get out of there. Because generally once you start hanging around, it's like you've got all these algorithms attacking you. I want to make my hashpah, but I don't want to be mashpia from there. My hashpah should come from better places. So, all right, a little bit I go on X, I'll be honest. That's been my Yetzirah this last Tekufa because of the elections. Okay, because I want the good people to win. That's basically where I'm at with that whole story. That's my weakness. Because I have a passion that the world of soul should win. That's where I have my weakness. Everyone's going to have your frum weakness. You're going to be, no, this platform I'll be okay, because I want to see Trump win, and he did, Baruch Hashem. Now I want to see the results of his winning. I want to see the impact. I want to see how it starts to turn the table for the world. That should be better for Israel, it should be better for people that have family values and believe in Hashem, and all these things should get stronger. And I can't do it in a such powerful way in physical sense. Maybe on spiritually, Shalasudis, like I said, we're mashpia through the ruchnius ways, but to see the world, the leaders mashpia in a good way, it's very inspiring for me personally. So that's my weakness. I'm sure everyone's got it, where they're going to go, which platform, what they're going to be busy with, like their interests, their personal interests. But the point of what he's saying here is that Tzaddikim are very clear not to get caught up with this foolishness. They don't let these thoughts of being something else, and they're not. This is just another level of thought. There's all kinds of thoughts that we get pulled into. One of them is not being sameach b'helko, not being able to focus in your lane. Another one he talked about before is thinking about niyuf, thinking about relationships that we shouldn't be having. That's a very big challenge. It's the point is, but the tzaddikim see through all this facade. And one of the important things that a Rebbe once said many times, Rav Simai Zilberberg, he used to scream it out and say it really does not matter on any level what other people think of you. It has no effect on your ashpah, on your life, what other people think of you. Even if you say, in horror, or this kind of, if you're really focused on your avoda, it will not have any ashpah. So what you have to do is not care what people's opinions of you are. It's like a very, you hear about it from the non-Jewish world, that they have, what's the word they use, like Joe Rogan always calls it, they have so much money that they don't have to care what anyone else thinks. It's like a rude way of saying it. I'm not going to say it.
You want to already say it?
Yeah, it's
I don't, what's it called?
F-U money.
Yeah, there we go. F-U money. But we have to do that on an inner level, like in our way of thinking and living, that we have, F-U hashkafa, F-U mindset. We don't care what anyone thinks because we know we're tuned into what exactly we need to do. And that clarity is very important. And then he goes on to say, Ki eilahai makim makomo. Were he to recognize his station, so now he's being very honest. You're looking at yourself, and this is not all the time. The Baal Hatanya is very specific when you do this inner work. If you do it all day, you're going to be a depressed person. You have a specific time, Hashem Shmeinu from that energy. You have a specific time every week or month or in your even at the end of the day where you recognize your distance, just for the sake of becoming closer, for the sake of getting more besimcha, not for the sake of staying in that self-reflective state that consumes you. That's where it takes over. That's where it becomes negative. Halavai he should be a Beinani and not a Rasha, even for a single moment throughout his life. Yeah. So what's the idea of a Beinani and not being a Rasha? So Beinani, we've been learning, is he always does the will of God, will of Hashem. Yeah? He hasn't destroyed his Yetzer Hara. He still has a Yetzer Hara inside of him. We're human. We've got thoughts. We've got drives. We're still round in our left side of our heart. This Nefesh Bahamis, this more lower aspect of ourselves. We're real. We've got it. But we're not giving into it. So we're never really a Rasha. But we're never really a Tzaddik where we've destroyed that part of ourselves or completely dominated it. But we're not listening to it. That's the point. We're not letting it control our life. That's the Beinani. Harizos he midas a Beinanis of Adosam, showing this as a measure of Beinanim and their task. Lekovish yetze hira oila ma'alev lamach, asiach data legam menu letuchosa b'shtei yadayim kanal. So this is the beautiful thing with the Beinani, and we'll end with this point that he's able to masiach das. This is a Baal Hatanya's Eitzer. There's different paths in Chassidus about this, and more in Naim you elevate those thoughts. You realize the thoughts for women is because you have a deep avos Hashem. The thoughts for fighting and anger is because you have a deep yiras Hashem. You find the pneumius of those feelings, like where it goes back to spirituality, back to Hashem. But most people can't do that. So the Baal Hatanya says, Seich das, just don't think about it. Like you see Chabadniks, Aseh tov, aseh tov, aseh tov. Just keep doing good, keep doing good. If you keep doing good, you don't have time to get caught up in that thought. That's a shita like of Chabad. Just keep going weiter. Lech lecha. We just had lech lecha. Go forward. That's one of the thoughts. And Fisher Shechter was just listened to before. Apparently during Birkas Kohanim, his son came on loudspeaker by accident. I don't know how it happened. But anyway, lech lecha. He was saying, go to yourself, and it means go forward to yourself. The big thing my Rebbe always is saying, the Baal Hatanya is saying as well, just keep going forward. Keep going forward. Don't get pulled back into these negative cycles of thoughts and thinkings, and there's so much mental health issues nowadays that people aren't doing these things that the tzaddikim are advising. One, they don't have an awareness of this whole spiritual system, which would help them if they did. But secondly, it's about creating inner boundaries. That's why I quoted those non-Jewish books, because they're very strong in giving you those inner boundaries of healthy ways of thinking. Like one of the things I've always said to my wife, like I don't want to be close with unhealthy people mentally. Like we have to make boundaries of those people, and that could even be family members. And it can be painful and it can be difficult to create those boundaries, and those people are like, well, but I'm this relationship to you, and they use their position to like give them a right to be involved in your life more than it's healthy. But you have to say, no, I'm very strong about this. I've been struggling with my marriage and my wife. Those people do not have ability to have shlita, have control on our way of being and our life, and they're not allowed to add any of their unhealthiness into our life, and we'll have boundaries. And every time we'll reassess and talk about maybe they've healed, maybe they're a bit better, generally they're not. Generally they're still in that negative space. So we have to, unfortunately, keep making those boundaries. And it's been years and years and years. And they've probably got timers, but so what? We've made the right choice to maintain a healthy, balanced family situation where unhealthy people, even if it means less of a relationship with them, but it's kedai because it's the healthiness aspect is more important. And that's, once again, we have to do that with the thoughts. That's with people, but then in our inner thoughts we have to do that. There's unhealthy thought patterns that we can't let them come in. Right. And he says, Masir Das, just let go of it. Legamre, completely, let go, don't let it take over, and push it away with two hands. That's how strong he is about it. It's not like, be like chilled out. Chabadniks are not chilled out, yeah? They're very simchadik, but they're definitely not chilled out. They're pushing away the Yetzer Hara and they're going forward with full strength. Yeah.
So Rabbi Leo D, a couple multi-Shabbos ago, he's like the perfect example. He said, like, of course sadness and depression try to come, and he says exactly like this. He says the way he pushes it away is either with chesed or learning Torah, and he says he said it actually works.
Yeah. So he's a living example where this works 100%. And he might not even be quoting the Baal Hatanya in doing it, but he's the reality, an example of where this, what the Baal Hatanya is saying is the key to life. I mean, look what he can then do with that. Mm-hmm. If he would have chas v'shalom fallen into the other way, allowing those thoughts and becoming a victim, we wouldn't be hearing about Rabbi Leodi. We just wouldn't be.
True.
And it's a different world because of those choices he's making inside of himself and being disciplined with his choice of where to focus. And the Siddiqim are telling us this is the right way. And so we've got the backing of the Siddiqim to push all those negative and they're not even, for him, it's not even negative, it's very real things. But it's not going to help him, is it? Is it going to make you be more effective in your life or not? So if it's not, so you have to make a boundary. Anything that holds you back from being more effective, you have to make a boundary. And it sometimes can feel a bit gavurdik, like you're being a bit too strong with your inner world or other people around you. But if it's for the sake of living a happy, healthy, effective life, it's kedai. It's worth it. It's like two different worlds that are opening up in front of you. And it's, once again, this is part of Yiddishkeit, is Hashem gives us free will, and choosing the path of simcha and well-being is the path that Tzaddikim are encouraging us, even if it means, and once again, you're never ignoring those other things. You're saying what they are. You're saying, just say it's a mother-in-law in the case of unhealthiness. You're saying that mother-in-law, she's not healthy for our family. But I still have to have something to do with her. But it's with a boundary.
For example.
Yeah, it's with
a random example.
Yeah, such a random one. And that was the time on Adam and Rishon. How did he manage to have such a Yerida when he never had a mother-in-law? He never even had that in the sign. Sorry, mother-in-laws, but generally they are testing. Not all of them. Yeah, some good ones. I look around some of the community and I see amazing families, and I'm jealous in that sense. That's where I have to stay in my own lane and not get depressed. I see like the owner of the Katz family had simcha, Eitan flies in and this person they're all together. I made a simcha. It's like a miracle if I get my brother turn up. He turned up on Shabbos and left on Shabbos. Like, finally came in the first time since I got married 23 years ago, and he comes on Shabbos, leaves on Shabbos. Now I'm going to his simcha. I'm going for like almost 2 weeks to be fully engaged and involved because I machshav it. But does it always come back to me the other way around? No. And it's painful, They have excuses. The war, before that, was Corona. They always have an excuse, not to come to Israel. It's expensive. Always like that. But what I have to do when I see that emotional experience, it can make me down, which it does on some level, or I can say be happy for those people who have family who are supportive and involved and engaged, and then say to Hashem, please God, I'll do that. I'll be the right kind of person for my family. I'll be present. I'll be there at their simchas as much as I can, and and try and keep positive. Try and keep focused. And it's hard. You get tested. You're gonna be tested on all these things. This is like a daily inner avoda. But the Baal Hatanya gives you a great advice. When they come up from the lave, they come from the heart, the emotions to the mind. You are allowed to ignore them completely and push them away with both hands. That's what the Baal Hatanya says. So with the evil of the soul, the Benini remains vigorous. His task is prevented from expressing itself in thought, speech, and action. The way we think, the way we speak, the way we act. Thus, he has no control over the currents of evil thoughts in his mind, but only over his acceptance or rejection of these thoughts. That's the beautiful concept. We can't control whether they're coming, but we can we can be proactive how we deal with it. Being proactive means we choose to process it in a healthy, positive way. And that is a big key. Like Avraham Avinu comes, this big light. He didn't have it easy. Yeah, his father was Ovid of Avodah and had a whole business. His nephew, his cousin, was just like him and was going around making Chilul Hashem balagan. He had to separate from him. Yeah, he came to Eretz Yisrael and Hashem promised him wealth. There wasn't. You see all the tests of Avraham Avinu. But again and again, he keeps pushing away the negative and going weiter. That's Lech Lecha. All the way to Vayera, where you see now he starts to get blessings. And then right at the spritz of all those blessings, Hashem says, now take everything I blessed you with and shecht it. Okay, that's yourself. And what does he do? He does the will of Hashem, passes that test also. And that's our legacy. That's what we're connected to. We have ability to overcome these tests. And with that, live a life of simcha and atzlacha. We should have a beautiful week. Hashem should give us the koach. Amen.